Welcome. I am Crime Queen, and if you are joining us for the first time, it's the channel where we have fun with words and numbers, numerology to be precise. This is where we are delving into scriptures, really, to be precise, Genesis of the King James Version. Now, it is the King James Version because I believe that version is very mathematical. Well, it is. I have proven that it is, because it's about perhaps 8, 9 months now, or more since I've been doing these presentations, and I am able to always get the maths to work. So the math, it's not by chance. Okay, so whatever minds had collated these informations, they are very brilliant in that sense. Okay, and something to be respected as well. Now, had it not been for numerology, I would have something very different to say about this. Now, how it has been used is another story altogether. But anyway, the purpose of this presentation is to kind of look at um, the said God. The said God. I have to get this. I am going to get this. The said God, as Eve in Genesis of chapter 1. Okay, and so the said God has been referred to or had an entry or entrance, 8 entrances of let there. Now, what is there's something very phenomenal happening here. Wow, it's the quantum leaps. Before I can even really detangle something, I see so much more, so much more. Okay, so what I am seeing here is about when God created man and he created he, male and female. Of course, where people get it all twisted, the word woman is another story in itself because although woman is female in this sense, but the mathematical equation is not. I don't think it's quite the same. Okay. Um, of course, I don't think it's quite the same. But what I have seen here is that I have looked at all of these and and I have looked at these 8 entrances and seen the common denominator that I thought I would take the first three words of each entry. So, for instance, let the earth, we have that here, let the earth, that is repeated there again. And later on, we can also even investigate how far these words go, or the sentences. Meaning here we have these two still have the common denominator as let the earth bring. Now, I think the word bring is something that is really profound because it has that be and it has that ring. Okay, like let there be light, and of course we have another place where it is said let there be light, let there be. Okay, so it's that one place with the light. Okay, and as we said in other presentations, let there be light was the first command we could say that Mother Eve had given there in that line of creation. Now, what I am seeing again, which is very profound, and in fact, I have collated the information to back up what I am saying, but it's really getting the time to really, in fact, I just have to go through the motion because I believe I am divinely guided to do it that way anyway. So the word the is part of all this. So this is the most consistent. Two words are the most consistent in that they spread around seven entry. Now this seven entry is that it's it's the indication. It's There is an indication that that seven entry is also in parallel with seven prior Exodus. If we can say Exoduses, I don't know. I think Exodus. Yeah. So that would coincide. And now this is where we were at when it is said, let us make man in our own image. This is where we come in. This is where, and it meant that everything else, of course, will part of who we have become. Because when it is said, let us make man in our own image and likeness, that meant man had already existed, like there was Noah and his family. So man had already existed, but they were going to modify man. Maybe there was some kind of something happening like today, where there is the chip um, okay, the chip that they are offering to put into, or implant, chip implant. Okay, so which sounds like a chip implant. Okay, chip is same thing. Yes, it's that implant, because then people are not using their brain anymore with that sort of technology, and you lose the essence, or you move away from the essence of who you truly are, which is why I am going back to Genesis. I am going back to as close as possible, because I want to remember. I want to remember, although it may feel like um, a death experience or near death experience, because coming out of the womb, it would be like that. It would be like that. Just like so many sperm cells go in the womb and pass out and don't see the light of day. So basically, I want to remember, and I'm hoping you do too. Okay, so that would be something to investigate, because it really, I've already just seen something as well, because the equals 6 and this is 10, so that is 16. This is where the number 7 comes from. So 16, 1 plus 6 is 7, and that coincides with the 7 entrance that I'm talking about. So we can see how the God, who created man in 7 days, or all of those things came into being, how it's recorded there. But what is important to pay attention to, this is Mother Eve talking here. This is Mother Eve who was talking and saying, let the waters, let this, let that. She's the one. And now she's saying, okay, I'm on the eighth child or something like that, meaning the eighth generation or the eighth, whatever it is. And let us. And she's inviting the other gods to be part of this. So, of course, if it would like one more god, like it that is indicated in Genesis of chapter 1, that would mean that would be nine gods. Nine. Okay. Nine gods. So, um, yes, another point I wanted to make, because we were looking at Genesis, yes, looking at the, Mother Eve's entrance. Hey, so I had gone over this, and I did point out. Let's do this. Wow, SAID. Let's. Of course, it's about your ID. It's about AS. AS is like saying as your ID, the ID that we have been given. So basically, in the words, in the names said, the God said, had given us our ID. Yes. So we had ID, and then, of course, with this ID, we had aid, AID, that's help. We see that we had help. We also had blessed with sad. if we could say, and we see this is where Mother Eve is at now, very sad. Okay, we are, the I is there because we are always carrying the I around no matter where we're at. We always saying I, the I is 9. We are always birthing some kind of newness, but is it in sync with Mother Eve? That is the thing. That is the thing. So this is the word said, or then should we say the function said, the utterance of said has the ring, it has so much in it. And I just said ring, and ring is 3. So 3 is also the word ring. Let's just do this quickly. ring. I believe it's 3 because I've done this and I'm believing I have a good memory. So 9 and 9, 18, and that would be 5 would be 23, and 7 would be 23, and 7 is 30, 30. So there we are with that 3 vibration. Now we are about to see the magic of 3 as well, because it is the magical number, really. I have just come to understand and see that vibration. So there we have in said, as I say, it has that the 3 that I was I'm not even quite sure where I mentioned 3 in the I as well. So 3 threes are 9 because this is 9, and sad would be 6. So that also has the 3 vibration, which would mean there would be 5 threes, 15, because this is 15. 15 is where we at on our central point the on Mother Eve's template. Okay. So what we also wanted to really go over is that we noticed that um 3 again is pointing in this L has a value of 3. It has the value of 3, and then we have 5, and then we have 2. That becomes 10. So 3 it's like telling us something very, very profound, that the first letter equals 3, and it also gives us a word that has 3 letters. So that's very profound as well. Now, it also reminds me, I think the number 10. So this is 10, and this is the thing we also need to be very acquainted with. So 10, when we write the word 10, it actually equals 255. When we add this together, this is 12. Add 12 together, that equals 3. So we can see how Mother Eve, in her speech, in her words, knows exactly what vibration she's connecting with. So from one word, a 3-letter word has the full essence of all the vibration that is necessary. Now, when we also do that, this also come to mind, when we also do the numerical value for the word 3, this is very interesting. This comes to 55982. When we add this together, 10 and 10, 20, and 9, we see where the 9 is in the middle as well. So 29, that's 29, 2 plus 9 equals 11. Now the second letter, this is so delicious. This is delicious. The second letter, I've made an error here, because I was going to say it equals 5, or it equals this one, but it, so 11, let's just see this, Leven, which has Eve in it. So we can see there's another connection. There is a connection. So 11, the word 11 has in it right here Eve, and this is E right here. So E is for Eve, and E is right here. We have Eve in the middle. Okay, so that's one connection, but I'll just do this quickly for 4, 5, 5. There's a lot of fives in 11, and that really is promising. So that is 10, 15, 20, 24, 27. So 2, 7 equals 9. So this is where 9, 11 comes from. If people do not know, when people are doing the rituals and they're doing 11, and you can learn quite a lot from this as well. So it's not really getting things all over. Things are so embedded in the vibrations are so intertwined and interrelated. So 911 is right here in the word 11. Okay. So that's but 11 here now, what we see with the word, the connection with 11, but there's the other connection with 11. When we add 1 plus 1, it gives us 2. So that is saying 2 is the second letter. That's another connection. 2 is the second letter. Okay. So basically we have, and 3 of course we see is the third letter already. So that is, we can see here how succinct this equation is. And it's no wonder that it felt like I could not move further from Genesis of chapter 7. It just felt like I needed to revisit this. And there is so much in one word, one three-letter word, like 10. So 10 here, now we see how 10 has given us 3. So 10 in this three-letter word here of let, when it is said let there be, that is 10, because the brain, in actual fact, when we are using, say, 10 for instance, it probably is not going about saying, is it a number 10 or a word 10? We have the spirit of sound mind. So there may be another pathway in the brain or how we process our information when we see the words or letters. So for now, when I see letters, for instance, I will think, oh, there's a 5 and 5, and I do this mental thing. And yes, it may seem a little long, but at least when I get to this 10 as the sum total, I may have had a longer way to get in there and having that pathway that might be necessary for me to get the details or whatever it is. I'm just saying. Or perhaps we just need to know the numbers. We just need to know the numbers. That might be one thing. But if we don't study the words which we are always using, which has certain rings to them, as we can see, lots of rings to what we are uttering, because that's the vibration in itself. The vibration, it's the dance. Okay, if we don't do that, then we are not, it's the two aspects of our language. Now, there was something else that I wanted to do about showing basically how to partnership, where I was looking at the two words here, and of course that's consistent, and the two sentences which have been formed as the bedrock. So I have done a presentation on showing the foundation. The foundation, I think it might be termed the foundation of Genesis. I hope I have labeled it that way, otherwise I'm going to have to change it. So the foundation, something to do with the foundation. So we are looking at the foundation here, which is number 2. And just to highlight some words, because we looked at rock, we looked at words like rock and um, rock foundation, of course, and of course that was also the name that Sarah was changed to. When Sarah was changed from Sarai, which was 11919. So we see that's 1021. So we could see there was a 10 there. There was a 10, 21. Why are we saying the 10? But it wasn't direct because 21 is really 3. But when we do 10, then we get the 3. So the format was not really there. So Sarah was there. Then her name was changed to Sarah, 11918. So that's 9 and 9, 18, 19, 20. This is the two we are talking about. She became the bedrock for the new nation. That's the bedrock. That's the rock, like the word rock, ROCK, which is 9632. This is 5 and 6, 11, or 5 and 15 is 20. So this is the two here we are talking about. Now, I want to introduce another few fundamental um, elements that really show the connection of the word, meaning the word of Eve, Mother Eve, the the said God of Genesis, basically, who has now made her eighth entrance into um, rulership. Let's put it this way. And so one of the things we have, and I would like to put this here just for reference because this is a wonderful word. So we look at space. We also associate space with air, although air is 10. Excuse. Space is another word that has quite a lot in it because it has ace, it has space, it has quite a few. Okay, but this is really 8. I won't do the math on that now. It is 17, which is like God. So God is space in actual fact. We could say that. Maybe we should do it just to for the fun of it. Of course, why not? So we see this is 8 and 8, 16 and 117. That is God. God. God is space. Okay. The space that we can't see. All right. Meaning nothing. Okay. So time is 2945. Time is one word. Then we have ocean, which is what we associate with Mother Eve, of course. So let's look at time. This is 9 and 9, 18. Oh, interesting. No, 9 and 9, sorry. 18 and 1, 19. Time, 9 and 9, 18, 19, 20. This is it. 9 and 9, 18, 19, 20. My brain is ahead. Okay. So basically, we have two. This is again consistent with Mother Eve having these two on the second letter of the word let, for instance. Two fives are 10, we could say. This is where the foundation, and 10 also equals darkness. So we can see that everything is like, you could actually see the vibration between the connection, or it's just beautiful. So ocean is 63515. Okay. So 15, 20, 29. 29 equals 11. 2 plus 9 is 11. So we have seen that 11, how it is shown, and you can watch my other presentations on foundation or whatever it is like that. 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay. Now, I use this word like ocean, for instance, because we have been talking about waters, we have been talking about Mother Eve quite a lot. Now, I would not have ordinarily made that connection with Mother Eve, although I know we are 80% or more or, water, but I would not ordinarily have made that connection had I not revisit this. I don't think so. Okay. Um, yes, two great words. That is the other thing. Two great words. Okay. So we have time and we had space. Of course, we done time and we have done ocean. Okay. Now I have oceans. Did I do Okay, ocean. All right, oceans, whichever one, because there we have five oceans, which coincide with Mother Eve as well, the five that we have been talking about. Okay, so the book of Numbers, like in the Bible, we have number. I don't know if it's number or numbers, but let's do number. And we have the alphabet, because here I think I just really want to do ALPH alphabet. bet. That's the bet that the gods have done on Job. Oh, it has to be the funniest story, really. Okay, so let's take this down a bit, one at a time. So this is 5, 3, 4, 2, 5, 9. I always like 5, 9. Okay, so that's 14, and 6 would be 20, 28. Is that correct? That's 3. So that's 14. That's 14, 15, and 5 is 20, 28. So numbers is 28, meaning that's 10 and not so if we had if we had numbers or an S, then it would be 11. Of course, there. Now, why I say numbers? Because we have the book of the Bible called Book of Numbers. So I think it is very appropriate that we address it as numbers here. Okay. So that is also because it's the book of Numbers that I think um, is really sending the message how profound a job that is done on this mathematical um, device, whatever it is, that has put things so methodical in our the constructs of our world. Okay, now we have the alphabet. Now that's an interesting one. I had to smile when I saw that. Okay, alphabet. Okay, the alpha. It's the alpha who makes the bets. That's the thing. We need to break down those things. The alpha is the one who makes the bet. Okay, 1, 3, 7, 8, 1, 2, 5, 2. Okay, so there we have 9, 10, 18, 28, and 129. 29. So that's also 11. And most of these that I have been working with as well, we come up with 11 as a master number. Okay, we have seen that the word element also equals 11. And if we had rainbows, that would be 11, but its rainbow is 10, and that's okay too. Of course, it has to be. That's what it is. It's what it is. Okay. Um, there is another thing. Talk of two. This is so very important. I have a series of things to do on colors, but now is the time I'm going to tackle this that I have resisted for a long time. So basically, in our world, of course, the constructs of our world is as such that everything we know, we have seen now comes from the from from the sea, we say from the waters, from the waters, from the darkness. And let's see, and we have black, and then we have white. I'm going to do this way because there is something that I had to do a lot of healing about. That's why I haven't touched it. I hadn't touched that subject for a while, and it feels it was quite heavy to do. And so now I am thankful that I've got the courage, or I have gone past that and I'm able to do it now. So there we are. So black. So there is 2, 3, 1, 3, 2. And there is 5. I'm doing them like this so you can follow me. 8, 1, 2, 5. Okay. Now, it makes me really see how this might be going a little bit away from what I was going to do, but let's add this first before I go on to that. So this is 5 and 1, 6 and 3, 9, 10, 11. So we have 11 here. And this is 7 and 1, 8, 8 and 8, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. Okay, 7, 8. 8 and 8, 16. So that would be and 16 and 5. Okay, my mind is 21. Is it? 16 and 5. Because I've done this several times. It's 21. Why have I've done this several times and come up with, I can see. I can see what I've done. There's the I. It's supposed to be 9 here. 9. Because I'm thinking I've done this several times. Okay. So it's 7 and 9 is 16. And that's 24. And 5 is 29. Okay. 29 is 11. Okay. 11. Okay. So that's what it is here. Now, there's black and white, both with the same numerical value. Now, of course, it would mean that the light, when Mother Eve said, "Let there be light," the light came out of the darkness, meaning nothing can come out of what it's not is. So the light has to be what it came from in this sense. So we can see, all right, how it has had, or it's got the same numerical value, which is the 2. Now we also see that black and white, of course, if we add this together, is 22. 2 here and 2 here, that would be 4. Then we see how that 4 becomes the foundation of, or the elements, or the water, the gas, the fire, the sun, whatever, the 4 elements that we are, the 4 gospels, those the 4 points of our makeup. So of course, considering like if it were the cross, we can see how that has come into place. But what really struck me when I first saw this, the words, because that's what I do. I look at words and I unpack the words. And I saw that in the middle here of the word black is the word lack. And it made me wonder about how we process things. Now, I know there was one time when scientists say that when we look at words, of course, what we look at is we generally look at the end, the 2 ends of whatever it is, and we fill the space, the middle space, with whatever to make sense of our world. But I am thinking, for most of us who see ourselves as black, or most of us who write this on forms, what goes on in our minds, or even when we have LACK, what goes on? How is our brain processing this. Then we have the other side to this is here. We have the W, which is what feeds, and that W here, of course, the B is very powerful. It's very, very powerful. And we can see why the B is like in black is used in rituals and all sorts of things. So it's not taking away the power of that at all. Equally, we have this W that mirrors, and of course, in the white, which denotes light, to mirror, to reflect. It's right here, and it comes under the column of the 5. But now we have been doing, this is why it's good to be educated. Now we have been doing the exercises that we have done with number 2. Then we can now understand the power of these 2 hinges on the ends of black, like it was of white. We can do that, okay? So, and understand the function. So basically, here we have already these two um, these two fives, which is denoting perfection, because 5 plus 5 is 10. We see that. Whereas we would have 2 plus 2, although we could see it as master numbers, we can do that. 2 plus 2, and that would mean it's 4. Okay, that gives us a foundation. Then we have 10, that gives the, like in the word let, for instance. So in comparison, we have the word let in itself is already 10. So when it is said let, we need to be mindful of that word that we are uttering that has those 10 vibrations. Okay. And of course, there we learn that the number 10 is very powerful. In some cases, it's perceived that it's the strongest number. The other thing that caught my attention is in the middle of the word white. In the middle of the word white is the word heat. Now, these two functions, I'm going to call them functions, have always been in conflict to some extent, whether one has been submissive or passive or whatever is going on, but these two functions have always had that. So there we see heat. Now, in the middle, when we are writing this word hit in the middle and lack up here, and this gives it gives the impression that, well, not the impression, it just explains history. It just explains history. Who has been hitting and who has been going without. That's what it explains. And so we need to be mindful that we where we can hinge upon or on these vibrations and to make them work for us. And as I say, 5 is really central. We have seen that on the template. So just to show you that the lack that is happening here, and if we were to add this lack together, through this would be 3, 6, 9. So the lack would mean that you are birthing something. You are always birthing, whether it's the lack, whether it's anxiety, whether it's whatever it is, whether it's you are always going through this, like they would say, the hand to mouth. So this is what is happening here. And then we have the heat. So let's just get and the here we would have 7, of course. So 7 is the polarities of the two sevens that we'd be talking about we have talked about. So here we have 9 and 8, that's 17, 18, 19. So again with 19 we've hit, we still end up with the number 10. We've hit in the middle, we still end up with 10. So we see how the superiority has come into the math. So 7 would be here and 10 would be here. Now, of course, we see how it works with the word God. 7 plus 1 would be 8. 7 plus 1 is 8. So I am getting the picture that this means that we need to find a way to add these two together for us to, the two together is what forms the 8, and it's hit. And there was also another word I saw with that. In fact, the words can also go as which I don't want to stray from this because it's 41 minutes on the clock. That's 5. Okay. And but it does make us really want to understand. It makes me want to understand the dynamics and the functions and how I, in as a person, can harness or be conscious about when I am using these numbers in this context. How does it impact on my mentality? Okay. I'm glad I'm able to have done this as well. Okay, so it's not like, okay, it comes a bit like the color green and blue, because they one is 31 and one is, and I'm going to end on there. So it's like green and blue because we're talking about Genesis, really. Okay, so here we have 7, 9, 3, 3, 5. So this is 8. Now 8 and 3 is 11, and 9, 20, 27. No, this is not correct. 5 and 3, 8. Oh, these are fives. These are meant to be fives. All fives. This is where Mother Eve is shining in the green. So 3 fives, 15, and 15, 24, 25, 26, and 7 would be 30, 26, and 7. Let's just do it this way. Okay, this is 3, this is 3. I think I've miscalculated something. 3 fives are 15. Let's do it this way. And 7, oh, this is meant to be 7, not 9. I am not understanding my writing. Yeah, this is 9. 9 and 7. 9 plus 7 is 16. So this is 11. So it's 31. 15 plus 16. 31. Then we have 2, 3, 3, 5. So this is 8 and 5. This is 13. Okay. So we have the reverse of how they mirror each other. Now that in itself tells us something, that like the number 14, or which when we do the numerical value for 14, it actually equals 41 in the word 14. So like the sky, the lightness, and the green, so it's like showing the spectrum of that of polarities, or what may seem like polarity, but it's a spectrum. So thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you have found this fun. Do like and subscribe and share. Of course, we have done quite a few words to show the the ingenious way in how the scriptures have been written, and we have seen that with just one word how powerful it is. So this 20, which is the bedrock, it's the foundation, and that's what we also picked up in the color black. The black is the foundation, and we it's really getting to understand the significance of each number. So thank you. And of course, we see where the white comes in. So these are functions that we need to learn how to harness on. Namaste. And spill over with love.